Echo Fangry Wolf. Again, happy Indigenous/Native History Month. I'm going to do this as my bonus video. I want to talk about Native representation in cartoons and TV from my generation. So, this isn't going to be a long video because there's not that many Native opportunities or Native um, people in cartoons. So, we're going to go with my first couple of exposures. First Native cartoon character I saw was probably Tonto on Lone Ranger, but we're not doing TV, we're doing cartoons. There was a Lone Ranger cartoon. For those who don't know, there was one. If you want to count Zorro as natives because they were Mexican and Mexicans are natives, that would also work as that, except for Zorro and them technically didn't use bow and arrows. They used swords and stuff like that. So he's on the possibility check. Now, prior to Lone Ranger and Tonto and Zorro, there was the Super Friends, and the first native that was on cartoons that I recall was the Super Friends was Apache Chief. Now, unfortunately, that name sounds as racist as fuck. They couldn't call him anything but Apache Chief, you know, and that wasn't even a DC Comics property. That was Hanna Barbera to give diversity um, to the show because you had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Robin, the Wonder Twins, and then you had Green Lantern. Then by the time they got to where Firestorm and El Diablo and Samurai and Black Bolt and Apache Chief and them were already getting at it, they were getting at it because they wanted diversity so that they could cater to more kids. Now, with the exception, I'm pretty sure Samurai wasn't, but El Diablo was. And El Diablo was Mexican, so he was also a native. So you had two natives on the entire show, and that was Apache Chief and El Diablo. But you never had them working together. Now, when Justice League Unlimited and them came back, they didn't have any natives on there at all. Which is, like I said, native representation in cartoons was far and few between. So you didn't really have a lot of native representation. So as a child, that kind of put me at a limit on who I could look up to. And they had nobody mixed at all. Nobody. And as far as I know, back in my younger days, there were no natives on Teen Titans. No, there were no native Teen Titans. Sorry, I have a cut. I'm picking with it when I know I shouldn't be. So you want to know why I'm looking at my hand like that? I have a cut. Okay? And that's CUT, not Charlie Uniform Nevada Tango. That's not right, but if you put the first letters together, you can get what that spells. Sorry, ladies. Any fucking how. That being said, as we moved on, we didn't really get any native characters in cartoons for quite some time. And Centurions came out. Excuse me, let me backstep. G.I. Joe came out. They only had one Native American in the whole saga for the whole show, and that was Charlie Ironknife, aka Spirit. And at the time, since I'm mixed, I wasn't really thinking about my culture. And now that I think about it, I missed out on Spirit. I missed out a lot. And so did G.I. Joe, for that matter, because they didn't bring anybody else in that was native. They did bring other Asiatic people in, but they never brought any more natives in. The only native that was in there was Spirit, which kind of fucking sucked. Until his family was in danger, you never knew shit about Spirit other than he talked to animals. And that he was cool as shit. Charlie Ironknife. Long live Charlie Ironknife. Anyway, as time would go on, because G.I. Joe stayed on for a very long time, they still never brought another Native American onto the show. Ever. Ever, ever. Centurions came out. When Centurions came out, they didn't have a native until like the last season, and that, I think, was maybe 10 episodes, and the native was probably on there for maybe 4, if I can remember. I could be wrong, if I can remember. Well, that native name was John Thunder. I'm like, why do they always name natives John? they don't give them regular other names. It's like John is the only name that every tribe seems to know. John this, John that, and even when you get the King of the Hill, his name's John Redcorn. It's like, come on, why do they have to keep naming all native guys John? And it just makes it like native vocabulary is really bad. So we're just gonna call you John. Alright? So I'm like, because I guess because it's a biblical name for Christianity and all the other stuff that comes in. So you have John Thunder. That's pretty much it. A few years down the road, you have Bravestar. And his name is supposedly John, but his title is Marshal Bravestar because he's a U.S. Marshal in space. The Galaxy Rangers didn't have a native. Doc was a token black guy working with 3 white people. You know? So you're like, okay, there's like little to no native representation. And in between Bravestar and John Thunder, or before both of them actually, was John Blackstar, who looked native, sound native, but no one can confirm or deny that he's native. You see where I'm going with that? And then if you go into comic books, you have very few native heroes that people recognize outside of Thunderbird, Warpath, and Apache Chief. Apache Kid, and then some of the characters from DC, you know, they just kind of throw you off a little bit. You know, so there's not enough native representation. However, as an actor now, who's going solely after my native heritage only, I'm going to do the best I can representing my native side. So please, natives, be with me. Bless me. Let's get this shit done. That being said, I'm Echo Fang Grey Wolf. This is Kung Fu After number 2. Be seeing you.